All right, so I don't have enough videos to put out, so now I have to create these last minute because my goal is to post every day for the next 10 years on this channel, and I intend to actually do that. So it's currently what, 8, what is it? Tell me.
8:30.
8:30. And I'm out here about to make 3 videos so I can just do it off the cuff. Normally I like to do these like scripted, so I know what I'm saying, but either way I know what I'm saying. It's just I like to put it together better. So the topic today is lessons your father should have taught you. This is gonna be off the cuff. It's just things that I believe are important for a young man to learn. One is you need to be able to fight. Depending on another man to protect you and your family is pathetic in my opinion. At least you should be able to. Doesn't mean that you're always going to have to do it. And it doesn't mean you'll never have to get a little help. But if you're not being proactive in your ability to actually learn to fight and do it on a regular basis, I think you need to readjust your priorities. So the best ones that I recommend would be Muay Thai and Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. I can also say wrestling, probably wrestling is better actually. So Muay Thai and wrestling. If you have those two, you're pretty much going to beat up 99% of the population. Um, yeah, and they condition you very well. I think wrestling is probably the hardest to get conditioned, the hardest conditioning training. And then Muay Thai obviously is striking. Wrestling is more like takedowns. Brazilian Jiu Jitsu is very useful on a one-on-one basis. So, if there's two people, the other one's gonna stomp you out. So, I do recommend Jiu Jitsu to a degree if it's like in a one-on-one fight, but it's better to strike in a street fight. Low kicks, high punches are gonna be the safest thing you can do. This is something your father should have taught you, but I think most fathers are unable of fighting, and they're usually very delusional about their abilities to actually fight. I can't tell you how many people, or fathers specifically, would go into the gym thinking that if they just get angry enough, that they'll be able to just win a fight. It's just comically delusional. You expect women and children to be delusional, but not men. Men should be realistic. I'll give you a perfect example. Yeah, I remember when I was 16. Imagine this, a 16-year-old beating up a 30-year-old in front of his daughter. I was 16 years old. The guy came into the gym. He was kind of like, prideful, but he saw that he was in a fight against a 16-year-old, so he didn't really take it too seriously. Nonetheless, we did 3 rounds, or at least we were supposed to do 3 rounds of boxing. I started round one, ended up punching him in the stomach with the right straight. He ended up keeling over in front of his daughter. He didn't fall, but he was like, oh, and I obviously didn't continue to punch him as hard as my coach was telling me to because I saw that he was hurt. There's no reason to keep hurting someone after they're hurt. It's a sparring session, not a boxing match or a fight. So I ended up, um, hitting him and then tapping him while my coach was yelling at me to hit him more. But one thing I never forgot was his daughter's face. She basically looked traumatized and scared, and she was maybe, I'd say, 4 years old. So that's the reality. He was a father. He realized his daughter realized that her dad can get hurt. And I'm not saying that you'll never be able to get hurt. I'm just saying you should be prepared. And he wasn't prepared. He was like maybe 30 or 40 pounds overweight, weak, unconditioned, and so on and so forth. So that's basically what happened. You had to be prepared for a fight. You can't just be going through life delusional about the realities. How can you expect to live in a world where violence is common and then think that not preparing is somehow a good thing? It's pathetic, and you need to get your priorities in order. Lose weight, get all the way down to like the 24 BMI, You're not big boned, you're just fat. You need to get all the way down to a healthy BMI. Start there, that's a good starting point, and then aim really to build as much muscle as possible. That way, you got muscle behind the force of actually training. A stronger, more muscular, naturally speaking, Muay Thai fighter will beat a smaller, weaker one. So make sure that when you're training, you're actually incorporating some type of resistance training into your martial arts training. That way, you can kind of have the best of both worlds. You might not be the absolute strongest, and you might not be the absolute best in Muay Thai, but trust me, if you're 80% on each, you're significantly more capable of inflicting damage and taking damage also. So in short, a heavyweight fighter is always going to be able to beat a lightweight fighter. Just imagine that. Another lesson that your father should have taught you is that girls don't like fat men. They tolerate them. And that's one thing that I never really had a problem with. I lost 35 pounds, but I still look very muscular at 210 pounds. I lost 35, got down to 175. I'm currently 185. But you want to make sure that you're not the fat guy because they just tolerate you. They'll friend zone you all the way up until they hit around 30 or 35. Then what they're going to do is they're going to come back to you, disrespect your entire marriage, by the way. I see this happen all the time. The reason why a lot of women are mad with who they're with is because they're not their first choice. And until you realize that, you're never going to put yourself in a position where you're going to do well. You want to make sure that you give yourself every advantage. And being fat is not an advantage. So you need to make sure that you prioritize your health, drop as much weight as possible, primarily body fat if you can. I could go into detail about how to do that, but if you want to learn how to do that, join the school. Click the link down below. It's free for the first 50 people, so I'd recommend you jump on that as quickly as possible. Another lesson your father should have taught you was saving money, and that's very important. I know a lot of people say saving money is a waste of money, obviously, but it's not. I'll tell you why. Life is not linear. It's never going to be linear, meaning that just because it makes sense on paper doesn't mean that it makes sense in real life. Things are going to happen. Your car's going to break down. You might lose your job. You might get divorced. But at the end of the day, having more money in your bank account is going to benefit you more than if you have less. So I recommend use your income to save at least 20% of your income every month. Do that indefinitely. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, saving, if you actually invested that, then you can't take money out of your investments. And if you do, you're going to be penalized like 30 or 40%. Instead, just have some actual money. And then that way, when things go sideways, you can at least have a buffer for, 1 to 2 years. That's a huge buffer. Most people don't even have 70% of Americans don't have $1,000 in their bank account. And every 10,000 you add, you drop you start hitting the 10, 8, 6% of people in the world who even have that amount in their bank accounts. Save money because it's never exactly the same every single month. And you'd rather dip into your savings than dip into your investments. And I'm not saying don't invest money. I'm saying do both. So, invest into your IRAs, your Roth IRAs, your 401ks, if that's what you have for your job. Make sure you get your match, and so on and so forth. But that's for long-term investments. What about now? The easiest way and the fastest way you can have money is just have it in your bank account. And most of you guys are not going to save up to $250,000, so don't worry about that. FDIC kind of protects up to $250,000. You can also have multiple accounts. So if you have 250 in one account, you can open up another one and be protected in the other account for 250. So just keep that in mind. And those are the 3 lessons that your father should have taught you. And I recommend that you immediately, as of starting today, in fact, starting yesterday, change that. Because each one of those things are going to put you in a better position. You're going to have more leverage in your job, you're going to have more leverage in your relationships, and you're going to have more leverage in the world if you actually learn how to fight. Other than that, I hope you guys found this video helpful. Like I said, if you want to join our school, I talk about all these things in the school and I give you a step-by-step program on how to implement it on a daily basis. Click the link down below and I'll see you guys on the other video. Bye.